I got two worryometer entries here. The first one is Mark Andrews. 2 catches for 17 yards on 6 targets. At least the last few games he was giving you around 10-ish PPR fantasy points, 9, 10, 12, something like that. This was 3.7 PPR fantasy points. I don't know there's much you can do, but 0 to 10 on the worryometer for Mark Andrews.
I'll go first. I'll say 8. It's 4 straight games of 12 or fewer full PPR points. And it gets worse as your points per catch go down in your fantasy league. We were all hoping that he'd see better than 6 targets. Tyler Huntley got hurt. I still don't know if he would have had a good game even if Huntley had played 4 quarters. Played the Steelers. There's something to be said about that. Steelers are tough. But you're in a tough spot with Mark Andrews because who are you going to start over him? You're not going to go run to the waiver wire and pick up Okonkwo or even Evan Engram after the games that they had and start them over Mark Andrews. That's going to take some chutzpah. And so they're playing the Browns next week, then the Falcons after that. These are good matchups in theory, but I don't know how you can. It's what's tougher to overlook. Is it tougher to overlook the production over the last 4 games, or tougher to overlook the potential that Mark Andrews has? And for me, it's tougher to overlook his potential.
So Adam, I need some calibration on the worryometer before we go any further, because Dave said an 8, but it also sounds like Dave's unequivocally starting Mark Andrews next week.
Yeah.
So what is the highest I can go on the worryometer while also expressing that I'm unequivocally starting Mark Andrews next week?
I think a 10.
A 10. I could be.
Everyone's going to start him.
Completely freaked out about Mark Andrews. Also, not even considering sitting him.
It's 12 PPR points or fewer.
But no,
6 straight.
Here's the thing that I have a problem with that phrasing is that 12 PPR fantasy points is tight end 2 or 3.
Okay.
So you're saying he's been tight end 2 or 3 or worse in 6 straight games. Well, I believe that because he's not Travis Kelce.
Well, but in one of the games it's a 0, and in one, 2 of the games it's 6 or fewer.
No, he's been bad. I'm just saying 12 or fewer is just saying he's been not been Travis Kelce for 6 straight weeks.
I can make it worse.
No, that's not exactly true.
Yeah,
who's better than 12 points per game this year?
It's not, but that's not.
But he's not 12 points per game.
Right.
In his last 6 games, he's probably closer to like 8 points per game.
Right.
What does that make him? Is he? That's still like probably tight end 10.
I'll tell you. Fine. I'll just look at the last 3 weeks when he was scoring around 10 to 12 points. Week 13, Mark Andrews was tight end 11. Week 12, Andrews was tight end 12. And week 11, he was tight end 7 at 12.3 PPR fantasy points.
So I'll lower my number from 8 to 7.
All right. I think, obviously you're starting him, but the idea of, I have Mark Andrews, I have a huge edge. I think that's hope. It's a hope right now. It's not a confidence.
You have no real reason to hope for it.
Yeah, that's a shame. Buffalo offense is next up on the worryometer. I didn't even do this in terms of just players, but just the Buffalo offense, 0 to 10. And they will get the Dolphins next week, and then the Bears, and then the Bengals. But 0 to 10 on the worryometer for the Bills offense.
5.
I think I'm less. I mean, it depends. 2 of them, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. This was my believe it or not. They're the only 2 startable Bills. It's probably 4 or 5 for those 2. For Stephon Diggs and Devin Singletary.
Sorry, wait, pause. You said Diggs twice. You meant Gabe Davis.
No, I meant Allen and Diggs. It's probably 4 or 5 for those 2.
Right, yeah, but then you said Diggs and Singletary.
For Davis and Singletary?
There we go.
It's 11.
Yeah.
Sure.
How much of this is just the Jets? Because the Dolphins are not as good and the Bears are not as good.
Well, it's not like Davis and Singletary. It doesn't have anything to do with the Jets. It's the last month.
It's the first bad game for Singletary in a while, isn't it?
Was he good last week?
Yeah, he scored.
He scored. I think he had 11 non-PPR points.
13 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, 11.
Which is worrisome. It's not a great game.
Right.
Not getting a lot of production in the passing game.
Can we talk about him individually quickly?
Yeah. All right. Josh Allen, 0 to 10.
Oh, I mean, it's like a 5 for Josh Allen?
It's 25 or fewer, 24.8 or fewer points in 6 of his last 7 games, 22.6 or fewer points in 4 of his last 6 games. That's 6 point per passing touchdown leagues. And that's also, I have one more stat here. Just want to get it. 253 or fewer passing yards in 6 of his last 7 games. And that is just really, I mean, in his last 6 games, for example, he was on pace for like a little bit over 4,000 passing yards. So the passing production is way down. And today he threw for 147 yards. Bad weather, good defense, but that is killing Gabe Davis.
Yes.
All right.
It
So
killed
Allen,
Diggs this week too.
yeah, it was. Allen's like a 5 for Dave. How about you, Heath?
Yeah, I think it's a 5. The thing I worry about is, and Tom Spencer talked about it this morning on CBS Sports HQ, they don't want him to run as much. And like they really do not. And he had 20 rushing yards in this game, and he had 7 a couple weeks ago. But like last year, his rushing production was kind of what saved him. And I think he has to do that, and that gives you real concerns about his longevity if he does it.
Right, but I'm happy with 47 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And it did salvage him, obviously.
Right.
So the coaches can tell him, "Hey, don't run as much," and he'll be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, dude." And then he's going to run all over guys because that's what he does. But I'm still starting Josh Allen. I still look at him as a top 6 fantasy quarterback. Is he the number 1 quarterback in fantasy? No. I think that mantle's been taken over by someone else who's on a really good playoff contending team. And I'm sure we'll see at least one more amazing game from Josh Allen along the way. But I think you do have to be a little bit worried about him hitting 30 points a week from now.